Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a sort of random late night stream that I was forced into by all you lovely people on my other channel saying, why don't we all go and hang out on your second channel, which is great. I take that as a huge compliment. If you guys want to hear me and my good friend Chris. Hello, Chris.
What's going on, Adam? How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very well, thanks. Yeah, if you guys want to hear us bang on about everything and nothing, then you've come to the right place. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well. Had a rough week at school, but it's over. It's Friday, thank God.
Yeah, you might want to explain that you're the teacher, because it sounds a bit like you go to school still.
I do go to school.
Well, you do go to school. And hey, beautiful disaster.
I'm the teacher.
He is the teacher. Hey, beautiful disaster. Hey, Lee. Hey, CG. And of course, there was kind of the elephant in the room, as you put it beforehand, that we wanted to talk about first of all, which is a bit of a serious subject, but obviously the shooting today in New Zealand, and we'll get this out of the way, obviously, as respectfully as we can do, but a little bit of a tough subject to start with, and then we'll move on to some more light-hearted banter afterwards. Ivana will hopefully be joining us very shortly as well. So yeah, obviously I don't know if you guys are aware. I think most people are. I get all my news information, to be completely honest, from Twitter. So yes, Ivana will join us in like 2 minutes. But yeah, I get all my news information from Twitter, which is actually one of the great things about it, because I don't really watch the news, and I can't stand to read tabloid newspapers, and, well, I can't really get them in Spain. But what was it, 49 people were killed earlier today in a shooting, and of course, once again, it's some twat doing it in the name of white supremacy.
Right.
I mean, if us as white males didn't feel vilified enough already, these people are not helping the cause, are they?
No, not at all. We were talking about that earlier before we came on, about how the tides have shifted, and we don't mean that in a negative way. Do you know what I mean? I personally feel like with what's going on with social justice warring, and you gave me a statistic of that, the last 5 or 6 active shooters who mass shootings have been white supremacists?
I think it's at least 11 out of the most recent.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I mean, I can name that Dylan Roof. That was white supremacy as well, wasn't it? That was a very high-profile one. And I just don't get it. Like, for me personally, if in your mind that you don't realise you don't have a right to take another person's life, and of course there's exceptions, you know, if someone's attacking you and self-defence goes wrong, okay, if you're in a war, okay, that's different, but no one in the general public has got a right to take someone else's life, and if you think you have, then you're fucked. Like, no matter...
Exactly.
Like, these people hadn't done anything to the guy that did it to him. He was just, well, I think they arrested, what was it, 3 men and 1 woman? Because there was like 2 shootings that went on simultaneously. And it's all just incredibly dark and depressing that we live in a time now where it's almost a regular occurrence every few weeks that like a school or a church or a mosque is getting shot up. And it's fucking, you know, if I wasn't already disillusioned enough with the world, I'm starting to get that way.
No, I totally understand. You know, I'd like to say, oh, this is unprecedented in human history, but no, I mean, all you have to do is go back to the Crusades and what they, you know...
Yeah.
This kind of stuff, unfortunately, has been going on through like, you know, the history of man. And as far back as religion has been concerned, there's been another group of people who disagree, and they take it to the extreme, and this is exactly what it is extreme behavior. But I think more so than ever in the last 30 years, because of social media, the world has been, and information sharing is minutes away, seconds away now. And it's more in your face. Everything's right there, and we're very hungry, media hungry for this attention, for these stories, more so now than ever. And so it's a little scary. Not just the shootings; those are horrific, but the society as a whole I think it's going through a big shift.
Well, of course, these actions could never be justified, but it's kind of a knock-on roundabout effect, isn't it? Like, the trouble is that if those guys wanted to get on a plane, of course, the people that do those sort of pathetic acts of, or pathetic and heinous acts of violence against completely innocent people. Like, if they really wanted to do something, why not get a plane to Syria and take on Al-Qaeda or something? Because those people they're killing are simply honest, good living Muslims. I mean, I read the Quran, and it's all about context. The same with the Bible. If you read Leviticus in the Bible, it's full of fucked up shit. And it's all about context. It's all about taking the positive points from religious teachings and following those and going, all right, well, this was written a few hundred years ago. Maybe that bit about killing everyone because they don't have the same beliefs as me, probably time to not follow that.
No, exactly.
And I think that's... I don't know, like... The trouble is as well, and I hate to say it, but I reckon if you go back, and I'm sorry if this upsets people in the chat, but if you go back and look at all these people that go mental and do school shootings or whatever type of shootings and things, they've always come from like a Christian or a religious upbringing. I know might cause some controversy in the chat, but personally I think religion does more harm than it does good. Hello, Evana. Lovely for you. You've joined us in the flow of a very quite deep debate, quite profound debate. Well, not debate, but chat.
Okay, continue.
Okay, but yeah, this is the reason that I a few years ago I would consider myself agnostic, and I was open to the idea of religion, and if, of course, the scientific side of my brain always wants some kind of proof before believing something. However, the more I see these things happen, and the more that like more crimes and like horrible acts of inhumanity are committed in the name of whatever God it is that these people follow, the more I'm like, well, fuck that, I'll be an atheist. Like, if there truly is a God, he surely doesn't want you people to go around doing that.
Right, if that's their God, if that's their God they're trying to impress, I don't fucking want anything to do with that God. At all.
No. Suddenly Andy's heard us talking now, and he wants to get in on this. So should we bring Andy in too? How are you doing, Evana? No?
Huh?
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Right, I'm just going to bring Andy in as well, because he said he was going to go to bed early, but now he's saying he wants to jump in. Hey, El Abuelito. We are talking about the shooting in Christchurch Church earlier today. Is that Andrew? Or not?
I heard him for a second.
Yeah, so did I.
Hello?
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit there.
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. You sound like you've got cotton wool balls in your mouth, but you sound alright.
Right, maybe that's just me.
Like, you actually sound like Hans Moleman at the moment.
Oh dear, now you got it.
Right, so you wanted to join us briefly, Andy, because obviously you've been listening to this stream, and I know we had a very similar discussion to what I'm saying earlier, and we were going to do a bigger stream on religion in the future. So what did you want to add, Andrew?
Nothing about that Adam. It was just well, obviously I'm not going to go into any detail, but I watched the video of the killing,
the massacre.
Wait, there's video of this?
Yeah, they were live streaming it to Facebook.
It was, I'm not going to, obviously the purpose isn't to freak anybody out. The reason I decided to watch it, and feel free to voice your opinion, I've seen some pretty horrendous things due to my line of work, but I'm not, I don't like to shy away from things, and it's like a morbid curiosity, so
right.
Someone presented the video to me and I decided to watch it. It's obviously, don't freak. I'm not going to, go into graphic detail, but I'm just happy without going into graphic detail. For whatever reason, this guy had a camera attached to his head It
No,
was like
no,
watching.
fuck,
It was
way.
like I've never seen anything like it. It was like watching Call of Duty. So it was first person view. So the camera was attached to his forehead, and then he went into the church and gunned people down, and went back, and not only did he gun people down, but he shot people and then went back and made sure that he finished the job.
Oh, that's fucking sick, man.
God, fucking.
I don't want to see that.
Decided to repeatedly shoot what I could only assume were already people that had died. It was as bad as it gets. I've never seen anything like that ever. It was just, it made you realise.
Damn, my stomach hurts now.
Yeah, it made you realise just how deep this guy's hatred. Well, a bit of everything really. He was talking to whoever it was as well, saying things like, "Hey, check this out, guys." It was almost like he was sort of cruising around the city in a car. It was very strange.
Well, like he was vlogging his fucking massacre.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It was a matter of time before somebody did that. With the way society's going, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, those videos where people do that with paintball, or what's the popular gun thing that everyone's doing at the moment? Airsoft. They're fucking cool.
That's exactly what it was like. It was like a paintball video. The gun was almost like that. It was bizarre. Obviously, it was not. I couldn't recommend it to anybody, but I only. Do you understand that morbid curiosity?
Yeah. No, I can understand why you'd want to see it. But at the same time, I don't think I would want to see it because I think it could dehumanise it. Like you say, watching it seemed like watching a video game. I don't think I
don't ever want to be numb to that kind of environment.
No, that's...
I want to feel sick to my stomach when people do shit like that. I want to be mad. I want to be angry.
I
don't ever want to be comfortable with that. That's not okay.
I
think it's desensitizing these young kids. Just being a teacher and speaking to these kids, they're desensitized, big time. It's true that I don't want to get into the debate and you can leave that open, but I've seen it.
I think this is something Andy and I kind of touched upon yesterday. And I just think some people don't have empathy. There's like something in their brain. I think empathy is probably the most important thing that you can have, like understanding that everyone has feelings and emotions and families and like I don't think I could ever join. When I was a kid, I really wanted to join the SBS, and all my family are naval people, so my parents were really happy. But then I thought about it, like, if I went to war, I'd be one of the first to be called up. And I don't think I could pull the trigger on another human being. I honestly don't think I could, because I have too much empathy for them.
I'm not cut out for that.
No,
but if somebody was shooting at you, trying to kill you, I bet you'd do it.
That's different though, isn't it?
It's war, that's what being called up is. You don't think it's good that you know Adam should want to, but I'm telling you, if the shit hit the fan, I think you would defend yourself. So I know you wouldn't, but I mean, if you really wanted to be in the armed services, you would overcome that what-if factor. If that actually happened, I think you would handle yourself.
Well, it was that and the 6 a.m. starts that put me off, to be honest. But
it was the fact that you had to actually like do something.
Right, you could just sit and scam bait people.
I mean, it looked fucking cool. Like, they had this stand at a careers day when I was leaving school, and I was like, it looks really cool being in the SBS, but nah, not for me. If anyone's not aware, that's the Special Boat Service rather than the SAS, the Special Air Service, or as some people refer to it, Super Army Soldiers. It's from Extras, isn't it? Super Army Soldiers.
Part of that.
But anyway, I just came in to share that horrific finding. I don't know what that.
Well, that's given us more food for thought, definitely, Andy. So appreciate that. And Andy and I will be doing a stream about religion soon, guys. Which obviously we sit on.
That's going to be pretty fucking intense.
It is because we sit on two different sides of the fence when it comes to religion. Yeah. So it should make for an interesting debate, though, and we all love a good mass debate. So.
Oh, don't we? That's exactly why I've got to leave now. So if you excuse me, I have some business to attend.
Okay.
Right, cheers, guys. Anyway.
All right, take it easy, Andy. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
This is the longest.
British people saying bye at the last. Like every time I say goodbye to Adam, it's bye.
Do you know what I got that from?
Like 1,000 times after.
Yeah.
What you say?
And each bye gets a little bit higher as well. It's like bye. And
Sound like words from Finding Nemo.
oh well, I actually got it from Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, but the way you make it sound is like those sequels or whatever in Finding Nemo, and you're like, mine.
It's been a long time since I've seen Finding Nemo.
Seems more than I should.
But well, you've got a family. You're allowed. In fact, the only time I watched Finding Nemo was with my sister and my niece and nephew. So that was a good long time ago. I think just after it came out on DVD. I think I enjoyed it though.
I never watched the end of it. I never knew if they find him or not. But
Yeah, they find him. I watched.
Just don't spoil the ending for everyone who hasn't seen it.
oh, spoiler alert!
Everyone has seen it.
I just said I haven't.
Yeah, were you gonna go back and watch the ending for real?
No, I get to the stone, the pot-headed turtle part where it's like, do the jet stream, man, and then I'm like, that.
Yes, James Morris has made a good point here as well. Religion has been the biggest perpetrators of crimes against people, children particularly. Well, I suppose, yes, when you look at the Catholic Church, of course. I mean, how those guys can call themselves men of God and then go out and fuck little children is beyond me. Don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not against religion. If you feel the need to believe in something, or that you have to, like, I think we should all have an inbuilt moral compass that tells us right from wrong, and it again comes down to empathy. If you go, well, if I do this, it's going to hurt or upset that person, so I shouldn't do it, then that's all you need to be able to realise. However, and I said this to Andy earlier, and I asked my dad a long time ago, because he's a strict atheist, and I said to him, Dad, why are you an atheist? Because my mum, she grew up in Northern Ireland, so she grew up in a very Protestant, God-fearing family. And I said to him, why are you so adamant about atheism? And he said, because religion is the reason behind all wars. And honestly, maybe that's a bit extreme, but I think religion's got a lot to answer for. A lot of people hurt each other in the name of religion, and surely if there is a religion, shouldn't we all just be going, all right, fine? Like, people go, oh, you don't believe in the same God as me, so that means I've got a right to do something to you. No, it doesn't work like that. That's not how life works, and if you think it does, you're a fucking, excuse my language, but you're a fucking retard.
Well, there are a lot of fucking retards out there. So
there is.
The world is like fucked.
The world is fucked, and with every one of these like shootings and things, I become more disillusioned.
It's like normal now. It's like it's always happening. Not that it's normal, obviously, but like it happens so regularly. Like it phases me. Like I'm like, why? It just makes me angry. But I feel like other people, like, it doesn't really faze them anymore. Like, oh,
like nobody talked about it. Nobody talked about it at work today. Not a soul.
Really?
Wasn't mentioned. Yeah, it wasn't mentioned. I brought it up because I was fucking horrified.
Yeah.
Well, I think now
I work in a school. Like, I have moments when I'm just sitting there, like, doing a test, and the kids are quietly working, which is fucking rare. And I think to myself, oh shit, you know, this could happen at my school. And I used to think, oh, it's not, but now more than ever, the possibility, you can't ignore it. And it's something that's in the back of your head all the time, and we go through training for it. And the training they made us go through was freaking scary.
Well, I hate to single your country out in this, Chris, as well, but America has got to take some responsibility for all of this.
Nobody else does.
Well, that's a very rare quote that not that many people will get, but I like good timing. But because of your lax gun laws and having such a huge amount of people on one kind of island, or one very large island, where you've got such extremes in poverty and wealth, like, guns should have never been made legal for people unless it was truly... I get it, people need to hunt. Like, if you've ever tried venison, like, it's worth sometimes... I mean, as beautiful as deers are, they also taste beautiful. But, okay, but you should be going through rigorous tests, like going, okay, you are only using this gun for hunting, aren't you? You shouldn't be able to walk into fucking... I don't know if you can do it anymore, but you used to be able to go in Walmart and buy ammunition. Like, how fucked is your country? So, sorry, Chris, I'm taking out my anger at America on it.
This needs to be said.
But how fucked is a country that does that? And of course, today's events, they happened in New Zealand, but I don't think if it hadn't become almost commonplace in America, we wouldn't be getting copycats around the world. Of course, my country is not above blame in this as well. We've had Dunblane, we've had massacres, we've had some horrible stuff happening. I mean, Dunblane was one of the worst fucking possible shootings ever, because it was primary school kids. It was fucking horrible.
Right.
But so we're not. But I think it happens a lot more rarely in the UK because we have gun control. Because I couldn't just go into a gun shop and be like, I want a gun. I would have to go through rigorous background checks to get a gun in the UK, and I would only get it if I had a reason for wanting it, like being a hunter. Whereas you guys can, like, fuck it. In fact, Andy mentioned Bowling for Columbine last night, and there's a bit in that where he goes into a bank, and the bank, when you opened an account, were giving people a well, I don't know if it's a shotgun or a rifle, well, they were giving people a gun. It's irrelevant what kind of gun it is. They were giving, where it's so commonplace. And and I know this might kind of get a few people's backs up, but this kind of, the crime, like, that's happening within the ghetto places of America. Like, for example, I'm a big fan of The Wire. I know you are as well, Chris. And because it's not like an act of killing someone. Like, okay, if you premeditate killing someone and you don't have a gun at your disposal, then you've got to go, right, well, I've got to get a knife and maybe I'll have to stab them a few hundred times, and wait, now I'm thinking about this, why am I even thinking of doing it? But you've got a gun in your hand, it's simply click, and the other person's dead. It's not even like reality to these people. Like, I would hate to live in somewhere like Baltimore, where even walking outside of your door means you could just get shot, because everyone's carrying a gun and no one thinks twice. Like, you look at someone the wrong way and you could get your fucking head blown off. Your country is fucked. Sorry. And it's time to reel it back in.
I don't want to like totally defend everything you like. Yes, I mean, it's not that bad. Depends on where you go. Baltimore, I don't think it's as bad as it was during the Wire days, but I could be wrong. I kind of keep my head in the sand with that shit, because I work in a school, so it's a very liberal environment, but it's also in rural Kentucky, as where I happen to work. So you get the mix of the two. And you get, like, all these kids wear hunting gear and shit like that. They have guns. I know that. Their family has guns. It is part of their culture. They hunt. It's ingrained in them, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. Because if you go to take the weapons, that's when the psychos with the weapons are going to do something stupid with them. So we have done fucked ourselves because we wanted to be free from you guys so badly.
Yeah.
We armed every son of a bitch and said, it's okay, shoot away.
Yeah, if you see a British man, just shoot.
Right. Now we're like, oh crap. So it was used as a political tool, and now it's ingrained in the culture of most Americans. And then some people who aren't pro-gun, they don't want the guns to be taken because they feel like it's against our rights. So you get people that'll even argue for the guns, even though they don't own or operate firearms, just because it's a breach of the clause of the grand experiment that is America. So you're right. We're totally fucked. We need to hit the restart button. People talk about go back to when America was great. It never was.
No.
We were isolationists before the World War, and I don't mind going back to that, because everybody else take care of your goddamn selves.
Yeah.
We're spread too thin, we're getting too nosy, we're starting to just, abuse our power. We got problems at home. We need to take care of our veterans, our service members, our doctors, our teachers, our cops, and our homeless population, and feed our country. We need to stop worrying about other affairs. We need to, get rid of guns, get the culture out of us. We just can't do it. We're celebrity crazy, we're gun crazy, we're extreme crazy to the extreme. That's what America is now.
Well, I'd like to address CG Rooster's comment here. And I guess, CG Rooster, from your comment, I assume you're a gun owner. I don't think taking people's guns away makes us like Nazi Germany.
But you're not helping the freaking cause by saying stuff like that.
Yeah, especially in light of the events of today and the white supremacy and everything, like that. It's like there's people there's people I suppose in lots of countries that would like to live in a Nazi regime, but they're fucked as well. But I don't think they went around and took people's guns away. We would have won the war a lot easier. Let's not forget as well. Well, comparing it to Nazi, I didn't say take everyone's guns away. I say the licensing should be stricter. People should only be allowed to have a gun if they have a reason to have a gun. And what other reason would they have than being a hunter? So if you're not a hunter, you shouldn't have a need to own a gun.
Right, and he's right. Hitler did take away the weapons. But
from who?
America is so from the average, they I don't know the specifics, and I don't want to be misquoted, but I do remember something about Hitler taking weapons, or, he wasn't allowing everyday people to have weapons. But here in America, everyone's so afraid of the fucking federal government. But they don't understand the United States of America means the federal government is in check by the states. And let me tell you, the states don't like the federal government any more than Joe Blow with his damn gun. So people get so crazy and the federal government's going to take your guns, and they're getting all Nazi Germany on everybody. No, the states can step in when the government is the federal government is acting a certain way. A lot of people, I'll be honest with you, I'm not calling them out, but a lot of people are uneducated in the history of the United States and don't know how government works. They just simply don't. And that's a big problem. Education, it was super high in America. It was a goal of ours. In fact, we have a genius grant where if you're a genius somewhere, we'll pay for you to move to America so you can be a genius for us. Because we stopped giving a shit about education. But a lot of these problems and a lot of these, oh, it's my gun, you're going to take my job, is because they're dumb and they're ignorant and they're not staying in school because we don't care about education as much as we should.
Okay.
Sorry to get off on a separate.
No.
Sorry.
You're more than welcome to. Yes, well, CG said like everyone should be analysed. I think he's purposely misspelt that. Everyone should be analysed, but we should be able to carry if we pass. Now, okay, yeah, fine, but at the same time, you need to have a relevance to carry a gun. The reason in the UK, I'm not saying the UK is perfect. We have a huge problem, especially in London, with knife crime and such. But how many shootings do you hear about happening in the UK on a daily basis?
Not many.
No, because people aren't allowed to carry guns. The difficulty you have is someone has a gun and they're a bad person with a gun, so someone else wants a gun because they go, it's self-defense. And then something in that person's mind changes and they go, oh, fuck, I'm just going to use this to do something heinous and horrible. And I think that's the trouble. I much prefer the UK. I mean, in fact, I feel a lot safer in Spain. Like there's parts of London I wouldn't walk around late at night, but there's nowhere in Barcelona I wouldn't walk around late at night. Well, I think the government is owning a gun part of being free. It's not really, is it? Like why is that part of having freedom? Do you need to own a gun? Why?
You're asking me that?
I'm kind of addressing the chat and you guys. Like what would you have? I don't think you've never mentioned it to me anyway, Chris. If you're a gun owner,
yes, I own one, but it's in storage and I haven't pulled it out in 11 years. But at my younger days, I worked at a sporting goods store. They took us to a rifle range, taught us how to use them, taught us how to shoot them so we could sell them, obviously, right? And I learned a healthy respect for them fucking things. And I did buy one, but I've never shot it, never used it. But I'm anti-gun now, as a father, as a 35-year-old man now, not 25. But yeah. But no, having a gun doesn't. I don't know where that freedom it's that American propaganda bullshit.
I mean, it happens all over the world, though. Like, James has mentioned something about a guy running over cars close to Abbey Road, where, what, in London was... Oh, fuck, do you mean... Oh, that was sick, man. Do you mean the guy that, like, didn't hit a couple of guys with his car and then he, like, decapitated someone or something? That was fucking terrible. No, CG, I completely agree with that. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. The point I'm trying to make is, I think by having a gun... it takes away the personality or the personalness of the act of what you're doing, because you can literally take a life with the click of a trigger. Whereas
there was a shooting in Toronto in like Greektown.
Yeah.
This guy literally was just walking down the sidewalk and he just shoots into random stores. And he killed a couple people, like a little girl who was I think 7 or something. But yeah, like it's happening in Canada now too. It didn't really happen.
That's what I was going to say. I was really curious about Canada and their laws and their culture.
Well,
how do they feel about firearms?
There's a statistic. Sorry.
It's not the same as the States. Like everyone here, I don't know. Some people, I think it's mostly just for hunting here because it's Canada. Everybody hunts. But like gun laws are pretty strict here.
There was a statistic, and I'm kind of pulling this out of the air, but it was in Bowling for Columbine, and it said yearly in America there's something like 1,200, and now, of course, that's a fairly dated movie now, so I expect this is high, but it was something like 1,200 reported shootings a year in America, and yet Canada, your next-door neighbours, had 4 gun murders per year.
Yeah, I remember that part of the movie. It was pretty fucking shocking.
Yeah, like, the country right next to you manages not to blow everyone's heads off all the time, so what the fuck are you guys doing?
The argument of, like, the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, there's a couple things wrong with that, because if the good guy can get the gun, so can the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Sorry, you don't need an automatic rifle to shoot a deer.
No, definitely not.
So, that's outlaw 30 clip magazines, semi-auto, outlaw that shit.
Yeah.
You just need a bolt-action rifle and a shotgun and maybe a handgun, alright?
You can tell we've been playing Red Dead. Yeah, like bolt action.
Yeah, just get your bolt action out. And I forgot the other point I was going to make, but I disagree with the good guy with the gun comment because it's accessible. And let's say that good guy with the gun has a bad day, and now he's armed and pissed. It can happen to anybody. A bad day could happen to anybody. The best person in the world could have a bad day. So you're going to give him because he's a good guy, or because he's a nice guy, he gets to have a semi-automatic rifle, so when he snaps, he can kill as many people as possible. Fuck that.
But that's the trouble. It's because the personalisation of what you're actually doing is taken away. It's like, oh well, fine, I can just pull this trigger. It doesn't even seem real, does it? Like, it's not the same as having to premeditate someone's murder. You can literally walk down the street with it in your pocket and just pull it out and shoot it at someone, and it doesn't even seem real. The fact that lives seem to be not valued these days is something that I find difficult to understand. Kay's just said
we would growing up in the 90s and in the early 80s, I thought by this time we'd be past a lot of this shit, to be honest with you. And by the time I was 35, I was expecting the world to be a little kinder. Maybe I was just a little too disillusioned, but I wasn't, this is kind of scary. And I just had a kid, and I work with kids, and I'm thinking, like, what kind of future? Where are we going as a society, as human beings? You're right. I think this moral detachment from
Well, CG, there's no reason to need a gun in that situation. I think if you found that happening, and I would like to think that you wouldn't. I wouldn't want one shot. You would tear that man apart with your bare hands. You would be so filled with rage if you saw something that disgusting going. But I think you're trying to push the extreme agenda here to try and turn it into a kind of a debate that's off the topic. You don't need a gun. If you came across Me Just Me said exactly what I've just said, but if you came across something that heinous happening to someone that you loved, then you would rip them apart with your bare hands. You would take more pleasure in it.
No, you wouldn't stop and say, let me load my semi-automatic rifle.
Just get a baseball bat.
Yeah, wrapped in barbed wire.
Right.
Smack him over the head with it. Even a pan.
No, well, you'd smack him over the head with it, and then you would take him to, like, the dirtiest, biggest bastards you know, who are all homosexual as well, and say, rape the fuck out of this cunt, run a train on him. Let him know how it feels.
Here's another thing, though. Let's just say we're in the middle of an active shooter, and a good guy with a gun takes him out before he does damage. Now I'm thankful that motherfucker's got his gun. So, like, what do you do there? Like, what's devil's advocate real quick?
But if he takes him out before he's killed anyone, how does he prove that he planned to and he wasn't just holding a gun for self-defense? It's like thought police. I mean, it brings on to a very kind of difficult ethical debate. It's like, for example, with, like, To Catch a Predator, something that we talk about quite often, technically, because the person didn't exist, a lot of those, especially Lorne, were very upset with the fact they went to jail because they never actually did anything to anyone that didn't exist. However, they planned to do it. But, of course, stopping a crime before it happened is heroic, but how early are you talking about stopping the crime? Because if that guy just turns around and goes, well, he was planning to shoot everyone up, and you go, well, he didn't, where exactly, why did you think that? Then he's going to look like the bad guy, not the good guy.
Right, but you don't have time to think about that in those situations.
I mean, if some dude's got a gun out and he's aiming it at someone and you pull the trigger on him, yeah, I think that's fine. Or this imaginary good guy who's also armed pulls the trigger on him, that's fine.
But you're talking about if he just sees a random dude with a gun and he pulls his gun out and kills him and goes, oh, he was going to plan something, but he was just concealed carry.
Yeah.
No, okay. I'm not talking about that.
No.
He is an active shooter, he is shooting, and someone takes him out before, he could do a whole lot of damage.
No, I was just playing devil's advocate for a bit there.
If you're in that situation, you're happy that good guy with the gun was there.
Yeah.
And it's a strong argument to make, especially when everyone's shooting everybody now.
Yeah, but why are we doing that? Why don't people care about each other anymore?
I don't know.
1 second. I gotta go, so I'm just saying bye.
Oh, okay. So, sorry, Evana.
Okay.
You didn't get to stay with us very long. I apologise.
Yeah, I have to go to the St. Patrick's Day party.
Oh, nice. It's not St. Patrick's Day today, is it?
Sunday.
Yeah, but we're starting early, I guess. I don't know.
Ah, very nice.
Yes. So, have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
So you just did it.
Boy. Yes, I do it. Anyway, yeah, I think maybe it's all been a bit heavy, this conversation so far, hasn't it?
Right.
But, like we did want to go quite light-hearted, but we thought we would get rid of the elephant in the room, so to speak. And yeah, well, we could talk about more. Anna's right, though. We are desensitised to everything, and we shouldn't be. It kind of comes a bit to... I think what Andy was trying to convey, if any of you guys listened to the stream yesterday when he was saying that porn is unhealthy, I think he was trying to convey that certain types of porn are unhealthy. Have gun, me accidentally spelled it wrong. She was talking to Evana, or sorry, he or she, sorry, me, just me, or gender pronouns, whichever you prefer to go by. It's a bloody minefield these days. But she wrote, instead of writing have fun, she wrote have gun. Quite a Freudian slip for this stream currently.
Right.
Yeah, Miss Rebel
They
Jewel.
be serving firearms at this party.
Yes. Like... I don't know. It's like people don't understand that everyone else's life is as valuable as each other's. And when I was younger, I used to have a big problem. I used to think that no one else had conscious thought, and like the world was just created for me. Because I couldn't prove it. There was no way to open up someone else's mind and go, are you conscious or are you just a robot that's been...
Did you ever just ask somebody, have you ever thought about blah blah blah? You never
I did. I did, and that's when I realised.
Well, that proves that they're thinking just like...
Yeah, but the robots are planned to say that. Of course they're going to say that, aren't they?
The robots they made for me are just programmed to say that.
Yeah, they're not going to say, oh no, Adam, we're all robots put here in this fantasy that's been made for you, and then 10 years later I wake up in a virtual reality machine. How Descartes of me. Very lovely, CK. I'm not familiar with Descartes, I know the name. But, no, I'm aware that everyone else has consciousness and has feelings and emotions, and I think sometimes now, yeah, people don't really appreciate that others do, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if someone doesn't agree with you on religion and stuff, you can still be friends. Like, I've got friends...
You disagree.
Yeah, it's like...
I love some of my friends. Me and you, Adam, we don't see eye to eye on some things, but it's good to know your point of view. It's good, but we don't... It's not the end-all, be-all to how we feel about each other, our relationship. In fact, I like it that we have this...
Yeah.
That we can have different arguments at different points, and then we bring up different sides, and that you're not like me all the way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. Well, no one should be exactly the same, but every problem can be resolved without resorting to violence, even if it's something as big as believing in a different God or not believing in God, and or you know, like the kind of heinous acts that are committed against people that are attracted to the same sex and things, especially, again, in America, like, you know, do you ever watch Top Gear, Chris? Have you ever watched Top Gear?
I've seen it a few times, yeah.
There's an episode of Top Gear, and I think they're in Alabama, and, like, they all stitch each other up, and, like, they write on one of the cars, like, I love... Well, not as graphic as this, but like it's clearly like this is a gay car, and the other guy's like, yeah, I love democracy or something, and literally they pull up at a petrol station to get petrol, and the woman in the petrol station is like, I've called some guys and they're coming to get you, and you're like, how fucking backwoods and backwater can these people be? That, like, they fucking think
real?
It's a really interesting episode. It's a pretty old episode of Top Gear, but yeah, you should watch it. If I can find the link to it later, I'll send it to you. But yeah, they kind of write these things and, like, making it like that Richard Hammond is gay, and making it like James May is a big fan of democracy or whatever. And then they're literally like, we've got to get out of here, and it switches to someone phoning on their mobile phone because the production crew had to put their cameras away, and they're pulled up in like this side road, and they're like, we've got to get this shit off the car, we're literally going to get killed, and they're like frantically trying to get all the stuff they've written off the car, which they thought was funny, but they didn't realise just how seriously these people were taking it.
There's some places in America that do not have senses of humor at all.
No. And it's just disappointing, you know. We should live in a modern age. Like, anyone can be attracted to whatever they want as long as it's not illegal. Anyone can believe what they want as long as it doesn't harm anyone.
But you have to start teaching that when they're young. You can't get some hillbilly who's been growing up since whenever to just all of a sudden accept things that weren't acceptable then. You know, it's got to be a process. But I agree with you, but I'm just saying, I have the same problem being from California and living in Kentucky. A lot of things that happen are just like, I want to shake them and are you fucking stupid? Like, what are you doing? Like, why do you think like that? Why do you act like that? Why do you teach your kids to be like that? Why do you... It's nothing negative. I'm pretty sure they say that, you know, California's not the best. I'm not saying I'm better. I'm just saying there are things that are fundamentally completely different. Even in my own state, I feel like I'm in another planet. Because it's just how America is. And it takes a long time for social change to happen throughout the country. And it still hasn't. We still haven't really gotten over, you know, things that we fought in the Civil War, all that stuff. I mean, we never really come to terms with our problems and tried to change them. We just kind of stopped in the 60s and just kind of went toward the military-industrial complex, and then the 80s hit with inflation and credit cards and all that crap, and I think America and then tech just went crazy. I just think that somewhere along the line, we lost whatever moral strain that we had.
Sorry, I just CK. No, when I said like you can be attracted to anyone as long as it's legal, I didn't mean. I'm pro interracial relationships. I've been with people of all different races, and it's been a great experience. What I meant was people that are attracted to people who are underage. I was just saying you can be attracted to anyone, and then I realised what I was saying might sound a bit suspect. So I didn't, I'm pro all relationships as long as everyone's consenting adults within them. Don't get me wrong on that count. The world has been I've been with should I be admitting this on stream? But I've been with girls from all around the world. I've been a very lucky man throughout my life, and I've got to taste the smorgasbord of sex.
Oh, I think you went too far when you went with that. Smorgasbord? But there are a lot of lovely, beautiful people out in the world, and it doesn't, not to sound hippie-ish, but the older I get, the more compassion I have, and the more that I would love to see this beautiful world come together, and it sounds all kumbaya and crap, but we have the technology to communicate. Look at us, we're talking across the fucking ocean. You know what I mean? There doesn't need to be this disconnect anymore. If they only really understood that human beings biologically are 98.9% the same, they want the same things, they want good for their family, they want to live, they want to eat. Most human beings around the world want the same things, and it's this, I don't know what it is that gives this human, I want to say human nature, the human nature quality of just hating. I don't think we've evolved enough.
See, I don't know if it's just me being kind of lazy or whatever. I don't really think there's any hate in me. Not even for anyone, to be honest. There's no one I would like to see harm come to.
No, I mean, not really. I mean, I can joke around and say it, but it's almost like, alright, I can make it happen. I'm like, nah, I couldn't live with myself.
No, I think there's very little room in my life to be angry or to be hateful towards anyone.
That's a good point. The whole, like, I had a teacher told me one time that hate and love are like really close together. So be careful who you hate.
Well, CG's made a good point. Of course, I hate scammers, but it's not like a passionate hate. It's not like I lie in bed at night thinking, oh, I'd love to see them all hang or anything. And I know I made a comment and it upset a few people, but it was very tongue-in-cheek on that scam bait video I did a while ago, which actually went down really well. But I suggested that the guy drinks bleach, and someone put in the comments like, are you aware you actually told him to kill himself? I'm like, oh, he doesn't care. Like, of course, I probably would feel guilty if he did go and kill himself that night, but he's not going to do it. And I think I put it in the terms of go and drink bleach, not as in go and fucking kill yourself because you're a waste of space. But sometimes, I guess I got a bit angry that night. There is a fine line between love and hate, K-More, absolutely. However, you need to be able to separate that stuff. And it's almost, in fact, what Andy and I spoke about last night, and I was saying, if someone wrongs you, you shouldn't be looking for revenge. I mean, okay, there's certain circumstances where, if one of the most heinous crimes possible happened to a family member, then I'd say, yeah, fair enough. Go and do whatever you need to do to that person. But in a relationship, if someone turns around, no one is anyone else's property. No one is your possession. And if someone turns around and says, I don't want to be in this relationship, or even if they cheat on you, you got to just walk away. You just got to say, I got too much self-respect for this, and walk away and never speak to them again. And there's nothing more hurtful. So although, yeah, there's a thin line between love and hate, and you might lie awake at night going, I can't believe this person wronged me, and that was fucking horrible or whatever. But don't look for revenge. Don't look to get even. Just walk away, because I tell you what, there's nothing more hurtful to someone, because at some point they'll turn around and they'll go, do you know what? They were actually the best thing to ever happen to me. and now they won't ever speak to me again. What a cunt am I? And they'll learn. And I'm speaking from experience.
I agree. I'm a firm believer in it's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah.
It will happen to them. It may not be right away.
It'll make you feel like shit, especially if you got cheated on in a relationship. It'll make you feel terrible. It'll make you question yourself, and you go, "Why wasn't I good enough for them? Why wasn't I enough for them?" But the issue is never with the person who has been cheated on. It's always with the cheater. Either they were too easily led astray, they met someone at a club or whatever, I don't know, but the issue never lies with them. And the one thing like I kind of learned from my experiences over my very short 38 years on this earth is like, if someone does that to you, they're not worth having around, and they will have an epiphany at some point, and they'll go, fuck, I was an absolute dick. And now I've ruined that chance with that person and can never go back to them because I fucked them over, and that's my own fault. And they'll live with that guilt, and hopefully they'll learn, and they'll become a better person in the long term for it. So while there is a thin line between...
Doing them a favor.
Yeah. While there is a very thin line between love and hate, it is never ever a good idea to take that hatred out on that person or anything. Best thing you can do, anything that's cancerous in your life, then you just cut it out, as you would a tumour. You just cut it out and you get rid of it, because
no, I agree.
Yeah, and it
might
does
suck at first, but you're gonna thank yourself.
Yeah,
too. You know, it's for you. It's for your own peace of mind as well. I mean, holding on to that can cause cancer. It could get you an ulcer. It could cause a brain aneurysm. You could get heart disease. You're hanging on to it. They don't give a fuck. They're off doing their shit. And you're over here fucking pissed and shit and getting all angry and shit. They won. Don't let them win. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. But then you and I think, and most of the people here, we all understand empathy as well, and how it does hurt to do stuff to other people, of course. In the moment, sometimes people do think more with their cock or their vagina than they should be. But no one is, as I mentioned, and this is kind of due to my recent personal experiences over the last year or so, and the way I felt I'd been treated, which was quite unfairly, but I am not anyone else's possession, and no one else is my possession, and if at some point I say, okay, this isn't working out, I don't want to be with you, then you have to accept that. Okay, let's get a bit personal. In my previous relationship, I never cheated. I don't think I ever did anything terribly wrong. And yet that person, after I broke up with them, acted as if I was the biggest villain in the fucking world. Purely because I just thought it was an unhealthy relationship and I didn't want to be in it anymore. Didn't cheat on them, didn't do anything bad towards them, always... I believe always treated them with respect, probably showed more kindness than I should have done, and probably should have cut out that tumour from my life a lot earlier than I did, but at the same time I was trying to do the right thing and go, okay, well maybe you're capable of change. Sadly that person continued to disappoint, and I realised some people are just beyond the realms of accepting what's happened. You have to accept it, as horrible and as hard as it is, and even if you felt you've done nothing wrong, if your partner says, I'm not happy, surely, and I know it's a very, very hard line to take, but surely you go, okay, I'm not making you happy, I want you to be happy, so go and find someone or do something that does make you happy. And I know that's a very pious kind, or perhaps pious is the wrong word, but a very difficult way of thinking in the moment, because you are left with this wonder, what did I do to do it wrong? I don't know. In a way, I know some people might say, I would rather you cheated on me because then it's not down to my personality or whatever. But you just have to accept some people aren't compatible and never will be. Miss Rebel Jewel, why did I break up with her and why was I not happy? I did a stream, I can't remember what it was called a while ago, but it was covering... domestic violence towards men and how it's not documented because men are too proud to admit it. But yeah, I broke up with her because things got kind of dark and it was all on her part. But after we broke up, everything was twisted as if I had been... Yes, thank you, Esprit. She was abusive. She would hit me and punch me, but also not just physically but emotionally abusive, and just was not a good person, to be honest. And I made the mistake, honestly, of thinking with my cock rather than my head. And yeah, and rather than the warning signs were there very early, and I probably should have seen them earlier. Did you, Kay?
Hindsight being a motherfucker.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, hindsight's a wonderful thing, as they say. Did she hurt me? She did some things. I don't want to go too much into detail because she, you know, you can't block people from listening to your streams, as she could possibly be listening. And I do wish that person all the best, and I hope they are capable of growth, but they can't do it with me in their life. However, she did things. It wasn't so much the physical, it wasn't the punching and stuff that hurt. There was other dark stuff that happened. There was a lot of mental manipulation that went on, and that was probably the most hurtful thing. You know, I don't know if I should say this, but I guess most people have been in a relationship like this, or maybe it's just me. Maybe I just send women crazy.
I've been in one. I never told you about my bipolar ex-girlfriend.
No, you didn't.
Well, yeah, I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, I'll just finish what I'm saying here. But yeah, no, you know, like threatening to kill yourself and well, not me, her, and things like that. Just things that you don't do to another human being if you've got other respect for them. It's one that for me is the most manipulative thing that you can say.
Hurt, it's so hard to think about other people's feelings. I've been that hurt. Not that I've said and lashed out, but I've been so hurt that I didn't see why this person, why we don't work, we don't need to be in a couple, it doesn't work. You don't see that in the moment, though. Especially when you're younger, you don't have life experience under you, it's so hard to, like, when you see red, not, you know, to calm down and, you know.
Oh, I've done stupid things, don't get me wrong. I've had my heart broken, and I've sent people emails or ex-lovers emails that I've not been very proud of whatsoever, and the next day I've gone, why have I done that? Because all that's going to do, because I like this person that much that even though they don't want to be with me, if I hadn't burnt all the fucking bridges, maybe in 5 years' time, what would have happened? But I've been so hurt, I've sent an email saying you're an absolute cunt or whatever. Like, how dare you leave me? And I think we've all been guilty of that, but there's a difference between sending someone an email that burns your bridges and then go, okay, well, I made the right decision because he's just made himself look like more of a wanker. There's a huge difference to that, to turning around to someone and saying, I'll kill myself if you leave me. That is, for me, the most mentally manipulative thing you can do.
That's sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And then what do you do? Because
even though, like, so you want somebody to stay with you so bad they don't want to be with you? Why the hell do you want to be with them?
Yeah.
See, that's life experience, though, man. You could have told me that when I was 21, 22, when this, you know, chick broke my heart, and I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? You can tell me it now. Like, I'm right there with you about turning around and just burning bridges and cutting that out of your life. But it's so hard to do when you're younger, I think.
Yeah, no, you learn a lot of that mentally, and I have to say, it all came down, I think my whole opinion on how I need to act with people and how I have to be with people, it all changed, and it wasn't even that long ago, it was maybe 4 years ago, and it's a relationship that I've often mentioned during these streams on this channel, but I was really, really into the girl, but I'd met her off a dating app. She was still receiving messages from other dudes, and we got into, like, the relationship in itself didn't even last longer than a month, but I was absolutely crazy about her. However, she was the one that told me she loved me first. I loved her first. I loved her first. But anyway.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. But yeah, like, she told me she loved me first, and then, like, 2 weeks later she turned around and said, I want to date other guys. And me, looking back, and I did, in fact, actually, no, I think I might not be making myself look good in this light. I did say to her, I said, if you want to date other guys, that's fine, but I don't want to be one of a group of guys that's dating you or fucking you. I said...
I've said that to girls before, and it pisses them off for some reason, but because it's true.
Yeah, well, no, I said, look, I'll go away and we'll see what happens. And if in a couple of years' time you're still thinking about me, then message me. And she said, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And of course, being a weak-willed bastard as I am, I should have just walked away and just not spoken to her again and said, go and do whatever you... Because she'd come out of a long-term relationship. And I should have said, all right, go on, go and sow your oats, get your fanny filled up or whatever you need by all sorts of guys. And then maybe in a few months or a year or so, perhaps we'll give it. And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I love you. And so then I stayed with her anyway. And then again, the following week, we had the same conversation. And she was like, well, it's not that I've got anything against you. It's just there's a whole world of people out there and I want to meet other guys. And I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm not happy about that. And then I kind of walked away and I was heartbroken because I was really, really into her. And I sent a really... I'm ashamed of it now, and I'm going to tell you guys because it was...
therapeutic, man. Just let it out. No judgment.
I'm ashamed, and it was on her birthday, so it was cruel as hell.
Oh, I'm judging you a little bit.
I sent this email, and I just said everything I felt, like how she had manipulated me, and it was really unfair, telling me that she loved me, and all this sort of thing, and then sort of like, you know, and I think I ended it, and I don't know if you feel the same, Chris, but probably like one of the most hurtful things that anyone can say to you is that you're pathetic. So I think I ended the email like, you're pathetic. And then I was like, why the fuck did I just send that? What a cunt. If I really liked her that much, I would have just not said anything. I wouldn't have burnt those bridges. And if I was as great as I truly think I am, I would have just said, okay, maybe she'll come back, and if not, she won't, and something else will come along. But in that time, that's not how my brain worked. However, I never got to the point where I wanted to manipulate her or force her into something she didn't want to be in. I just wanted to tell her she was a bit of a dick, which I did in very harsh terms, but she was a bit of a dick.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fucked up that she would say I love you, and then she's like, oh, by the way, there's a ton of dudes that are throwing their cock at me, and I just kind of want to suck all of them, so I don't love you anymore.
It was never like that.
That's how you took it, though. That's how you took it. That's how you took it. You went fuck it off the deep end. And that's what love does to you, man. It makes you do stupid shit.
Yeah, it does, but you know, and I was very embarrassed about what I'd done, and I think that was kind of the final straw where I realised
because you care. You're not that kind of guy. You should feel like shit after that.
Yeah, no, and I did, and that's the point in my life. And this was only 4 or 5 years ago when I went, do you know what? There's no point doing that. If someone disrespects you that much, then you walk away. Because if I had walked away from that relationship and said, well, I'm not happy with you seeing other guys and I don't want to be with someone that wants to see a group of guys, and walked away, and I would have always been mysterious, and she would have always been wondering, oh, what's he up to? And you never know, maybe
he wasn't like most guys.
Yeah, exactly. And a year later, she probably would have gone, do you know what? He was the best one. I've met all these other dudes and they're all dicks. He was the best guy I've met. I'll give him a call. Of course, by sending that email, all bridges were burned. So I learned that if people disrespect you, you just got to walk away. You just, to use a Bible phrase, even though it's not something I'm into, but you just got to turn the other cheek and say, all right, this person isn't worth it. And you make someone feel like that and suddenly they're into you.
Well, you just let living a happy life be a big ass fuck you to them. Like, that's how I look at it. It's like so doesn't like me or whatever. I don't let them know that bothers me, and then I throw my life in their face.
Well, do you know something?
I'm cool. I'm happy. Obviously, you didn't shake me. But if you start thinking like that, little by little, you just start. That becomes your attitude towards things. And for me, I had a similar moment, but it was a few years back, longer than 4, but where I kind of started doing that with myself. But it made the circle of friends that I thought I had a lot smaller. But I'm a happier person now than I probably have been in a long time because of that kind of attitude towards things. The little success I had has come off that attitude swing.
Well,
to be honest with you.
Do you know, in fact, looking back, even after I sent the horrible email, we had a few more email exchanges where I think I apologised and she messaged back kind of saying, how are you doing? And then she said, and I was kind of a bit hurt by this, but she was like, you blocked me from Facebook. That was very childish of you. And I thought, how do you not see that I don't want to see you uploading photos of you on dates with all other guys. It's not childish. I just don't want to be hurt. And I know my own curiosity because
I'm gonna
look. So for me, the best thing to do was to block her.
I've been in situations like that.
Yeah, and to say that's childish, I actually think that was one of the most adult things I could have done. But again,
just saying stuff like that, though, that just proves that they don't care about you as much as you do them, because if roles were reversed, man, she wouldn't want you doing that shit either if she really liked you. So, I mean, that should be a red flag.
Well, the difficulty we have in Spain here is that in Spain they have two words for I love you. They have te quiero and they have te amo. And well, te quiero can be, like, directly, if you translate it into English, it actually
means my love.
Well, it means I want you. I want you. No, my love is mi amor.
Mi amor, okay.
But te amo, because amo, te amo is I love you. It's like no qualms about it. But te quiero could be seen as I love you, but it could also be seen as I want you. And I'm not sure if because we spoke in English, and I'm not sure if she had taken the translation for I want you and started saying I love you and didn't kind of realise the poignancy of it in the English language. But, you know, I'm kind of defending her now, I suppose. But yeah, that relationship...
Oh, you're just thinking rationally back on it, and you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe I jumped the gun. That's what a rational, nice person does. So, like, I do it all the time. Insert foot in mouth, and then I go back and go, wait, did I jump the gun? You know what? I've done that before. Where I jumped the gun on somebody, come to find out I didn't let them finish. Or so-and-so thought I said something that I didn't, and then I'm attacking what they thought I said. In their response to what I thought I said, if I would have just calmed down and thought maybe, they probably heard this instead of that. But I don't know, I'm going off on the fucking...
No, it's fine.
I'm saying I've been there. I've been there. Basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're good.
No,
it's a slippery slope, man. Love and hate. Two, like, it's like magnets, you know?
But you can't let your life be... You should never let your life be filled up with hate, even if someone's wronged you. You just cut out that person for your life. And I know I'm dropping bombs of wisdom here, and it's a lot easier said than done. But you'll feel better in the long run. And I think someone, and I apologise because it was quite a way back in the chat, but happiness has to be found within yourself before you can. And too many people, especially these days. What? No, but
happiness must be found in yourself.
Miss Johnson, we found something odd on the X-ray.
Is it love? No, happiness? Is it
happiness, yes, like a French lady. Like a French lady going, all I want is happiness.
My household.
Yeah, all I want is happiness in my house. But anyway, but no, I think it's hugely important to learn to love yourself before you love others, and I think there's a lot of people out there that go.
It's hard to do that before you love yourself.
Yeah, like they go from relationship to relationship, and looking for vindication in others. Like, my life is only vindicated. I can only be happy if someone's there to love. And honestly, loving yourself is brilliant. Like. The grass is always greener at times as well. Like I've been in relationships where people just haven't got it because I've been like, right, today I don't want to see you. Today I don't want to speak to you. I just want to sit at home and play PlayStation. And you meet some people like, well, you must be fucking someone else. It's like, no, I just wanted to have a big fucking FIFA session today. Why is it? Because I want some me time.
What you have to do is when you meet somebody, Adam, you have to tell them that right off the bat. Like, listen. I might go away for a couple days and just have, just a me time. And guess what? You can do the same, and I won't give you any shit. let's have a relationship that we start off on that. How's that?
Yeah.
Does that sound good to you?
And then we'll come back to each other and we'll have missed each other and everything is going to be even better. There's no malice, there's no dark intentions. I literally just like to spend some days playing PlayStation. Nothing wrong with that.
She does too. Regardless of what she's going to say back, you know deep down inside she wants her alone time or her own time.
Yeah.
And that dude has been the staple of my fucking 11-year marriage.
Well, you're a lucky man.
Just because we value time away from each other. It sounds weird, but she allows me to do my wife is a completely different breed than me. I'm into like doing the film stuff, and I have my own business, and I'm always constantly doing like tinkering videos, and I'm just the nerd, the weird guy. And she's always allowed me to kind of be that way. So it's been awesome, but I also allow her to do the same thing too. And another thing, guys, another tip: leave each other's social medias alone. Don't snoop on your wife's page. She won't snoop on yours. Don't snoop on your husband's. Leave that shit alone. Like, if they're gonna cheat on you, they're gonna cheat on you. There's nothing you can do about it. Until you find out, assume it's not happening, go about your life, because eventually it will come to surface. Don't worry about it right now. Let them do their thing, and most of the times maybe they're not even doing anything at all. But I'm just saying, it's been wonderful not to be stalking my wife's every fucking move on her cell phone. But we don't have that relationship. We're not paying attention to that kind of thing. And we just, it's those little things that I was saying that have really kind of helped us stay together.
Well, I think there's more truth in it than, than people say. But absence, it does make the heart grow fonder at times. And, like, sometimes people aren't always there and available, but, like, you're always still thinking about them.
Right.
Hal is here and he's queer. What have you missed? Well, Hal, we've talked about some very dark topics, so we're trying to lighten things up. I leave Andy to do this sometimes, Chris, but it's your chance now. You're more than welcome to plug your own channel. Are you off, Mark? You've just said see ya. I don't know if that means you're going.
Bye, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Oh, bye, Mark. Oh, hi, doggy. I really need to use the bathroom quickly, so let's see how you handle my stream on your own.
I can do this. I do host a podcast. I've been doing it for a year, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Sort of. Anyway, guys, if you like movies, go hit up my channel. Some lovely person will probably put a link in there. They probably won't. But it's Two-Side Review. Guys, I do a really quick review. 5 minutes. No spoilers. I just help you make a decision with your money on what movie you're going to spend, because ticket prices are outrageous. So I give a non-biased, two-sided review. One's a fan of film, one from the production side, because I have a little bit of experience in that area, and help you make your decision. And I do a bunch of other fun little videos where I dress as Batman and I bitch about mundane life shit. So if you're interested in any of that, go check out Two-Sided Review. I'm also on Twitter at Two-Sided Review as well. And I tweet a bunch of movie-related stuff and the odd, funny questions I have to ask the Twitterverse. And he's not back from the bathroom yet. Terry. Thank you. Terry put a link in there, guys. Go check it out. I'm small, but I can swing with the big boys. If you subscribe to my channel and comment on one of my videos, I'll give you a shout out in the next review. Oh, here he comes.
I'm back. I hope you've been successful.
We'll see.
We'll see. What did you guys in the chat, what did you think of Chris maintaining the stream on his own? Be nice. Did I wash my hands, beautiful disaster? I did. Because now I'm handling ice, because I had to bring some ice to top up my...
You better wash your hands, dude.
Oh, well, I don't pee onto my hands. You're aware of that, right?
Touch your dick, though.
Right, and where's my dick been? Not for anywhere for a long time.
Between your legs, just, getting sweated on all day. Sweated? Is that a word?
I work from home. My penis is not sweaty. What? How? Very odd conversation.
Yes, while you were taking a pee and holding your non-sweaty penis, I plugged my channel. Terry put a link in.
Ah, very nice. Well, good.
I told everyone to, if they would subscribe and leave a comment on one of my videos, that I would give them a plug or give them a shout out in my next review.
Sorry. Well, there you go, guys. Sub to Chris's channel. Sorry, I'm just sending a message. Bear with me one moment.
I also do rants where I rant about shit.
Yeah, you did a good video about the worst 80s video ever.
Oh man, I forgot that I do the 80s. I give, what do you want to call that? I don't really give it an analysis. I just kind of give it a reaction, so to speak, to bad 80s music videos. I'm going to change that, though, to pretty much any bad music video, because I found a couple from the 70s that are pretty fucking awesome. In a bad way. But yes, I do that, and that's actually one of the most popular series on my channel, believe it or not, is the I React to 80s music videos I have not seen.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should do a long distance... Well, Anna, I'm not going to divulge too much at the moment, but you might be closer to hitting the nail on the head than you realise there. Is that a phrase?
What? Hitting the hammer on the what?
Hitting the nail on the head.
No, you can't hit the nail on the head. You can hit the hammer on the nail.
No, you hit the head of the nail.
On the hammer?
No.
Of the hammer.
The head of the nail, the little round part at the top of the nail is called the head.
Oh, you hit the head of the nail. Okay. Assuming that you're just hitting the head. Okay, yes.
Yeah. I'm sure that is a phrase. I think I've just used it in a bad context. Well, there we go. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know what I'm allowed to say here without getting myself in trouble, but my love life isn't completely dry at the moment. For want of a better phrase, it's quite moist.
Adam, are you seeing somebody?
Maybe.
That's awesome.
Yes. Well, you know all about it, you knob. Stop trying to...
I'm trying to be like coy, fucking animal.
Wow.
Oh, Adam.
Because
I did not know about this. I am happy for you. She sounds really cool. Did I read that right this time?
Yeah, good. Wow, I've made that drink strong.
It's the essence of you that you made with the ice that makes it so potent.
Yeah, the unwashed hand ice. No, my hands were washed. Besides, I carried the ice in my left hand anyway, and I pee with my right hand. I don't know.
Oh, Andy, you tell people, wait. You can drink and pee at the same time. You're very, very skilled.
Well, I can drink my... Oh, no.
Oh, what are you going to say?
I can drink my pee, but no, that's disgusting. Oh, it's all going wrong now. Late night shenanigans. CG, you off. Take care, my man. I'm sorry we fell out a bit over the gun thing earlier, but I have very strong feelings about who should be allowed guns. So don't take it personally. After the events of today, it's quite upsetting things. I try, and does this make me a bad person? I try not to dwell on it. Like, I know it's horrible. Like when I woke up and I heard about it, it was actually Andy called me and told me about it, and then I watched some some New Zealand news station for a while and learnt about it. But then I was like, I don't know if it makes me a bad person, but to an extent, I'd kind of like to just not think about it, because then I'd get upset with and angry with the world. I am always apologising, aren't I, Miss Rebeljaw? That's very observant. I tend to apologise. It's very British of me. I tend to, like, even some of my scam baiting videos, I apologise before the video happens. I'm like, by the way, guys, if you're easily offended, don't watch this video. I apologise for the language I used. I know there are some people out there that may take offence to this, but don't watch it. But I think I'm just covering my back to an extent in that, and I still get people that watch it and they go, I can't believe you used that word, you absolute bigot. Or bigot might be wrong, because that might imply I'm racist. I've never used racist terminology. Although I've done kind of tacky Indian accents.
When you call them all that Indian words,
Yeah, but that's their own words.
Oh, but what are you saying?
Which words?
Curious. Can you?
Okay, what, Madachod?
Yeah, what's that?
That's motherfucker.
Cool. Okay.
Benchod?
Yeah.
Sisterfucker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What else do I know? Randy Kabacha is... Oh, fuck, I've got a video, Chris. I'll have to send it to you. Me and my friend Alogical. The only time Alogical has got the best fucking scam baiting voice in the world. If you guys haven't checked out Alogical's channel, she's just awesome. And we're like long-term friends now. I can't believe her channel hasn't blown up more, but she's like, she gets the scammers wrapped around her finger because she's got like this slight Mexican accent.
I think you showed me her.
Yeah. But we made a video together called a Guide to Hindi Swear Words.
Oh, no way. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I got her, like, she's quite coy and shy. She's a really, really nice person, though, really lovely. And she's quite coy and shy, and she was like, she's going like, Madachod? And I'm going, motherfucker.
That sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. But again, it's one of those videos that I thought was great and I had a great time making, and yet no one watches it. In fact, guys, I'll see if
Dude, it's always the videos that you like or spend the most time on that it's just crickets for some reason. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get why I've got one video that's so much more popular than the others. In fact, can you hear this, Chris? I may as well play it because it's only 3 minutes long. It might be a nice little interlude. Let me know if you can hear this because I'm not sure if Skype's sharing system sounds. Can you hear that?
No.
Okay, so the guys in the chat can, but what I'll do is I'll post the link instead in the chat, and then you guys can all go and check it out. Hold on, what have I done? Have I actually closed the dashboard? No, I haven't. Oh, okay, to that's Alogical's channel. Yes, K-More, I can speak Spanish. This is the video that Alogical and I made together a long time ago. It's only got like, what, 3,500 views on it, which, but it's very short, but it's
Only.
Sorry?
He said only.
Only, well, you know, that's a poor performer for me.
Safari. It says I can't open this page.
It's weird. K-More, yes, I can speak Spanish. I have a lot of problem with the tenses, like saying we were.
But you're in Spain, so you use the vosotros, don't you?
Vosotros. I've never used vosotros and nosotros. They're too long.
Proper. Proper Spanish. You know what? It's a funny thing, man. California, when I was taking Spanish in high school, I thought Spanish people were darker, and so we were watching these Spanish soap operas, right?
Yeah.
And I was wondering why they were like ghost white, speaking Mexican. It blew my mind for a minute.
Well, yeah, no, I mean...
I wasn't very cultured at that point.
No, a lot of people seem to be under the impression that Spanish people and Mexican people are the same thing, which they're really not, and their languages are actually quite different. I had a lot of trouble when I first came out here, because I used to hang out with, like, South Americans all the time, Paraguayans and Chileans, and they have a different way of speaking. So, for example, coger is like to get or collect. But in South American Spanish, it means to fuck. So you're like, me voy a coger el teléfono. And they're like, what? You're going to go and fuck the phone? And you're like, yeah. So there's a lot of nuances like that. I mean, there's some words that are just generally Spanish that I got myself into trouble with. Mainly because I was ordering a burrito once, a chicken burrito. And I was like, do not say polla. Do not say polla, because polla means dick, but pollo means chicken. And so in my head, I'm walking up to the counter and I'm going, do not say polla, do not say polla. And the guy's like, what do you want in your burrito? Polla. Oh, for fuck's sake.
You did it to yourself. You should just play it cool, goddammit. You know how to say chicken.
Yeah, I was overthinking it.
You were totally overthinking it.
So yeah, Yes, there's some funny little nuances with the Spanish language that have been quite difficult to say. It's like my kids, when I used to teach English, I said, "No me gusta tu manera." And they were like, "You don't like us taking baths?" And I was like, "What? No, I don't like your way. I don't like your manners." And but because the way I said manera, it sounded like bañera, like to bathe.
I bet they fucked with you.
Oh, the kids fucked with me all the time, little bastards. Fucking hated them. That's why I don't teach anymore. Like absolute little shits. The trouble, especially teaching in an area of Spain where they have two languages already, and they would take the piss out of me, or in Spanish we would say tomar el pelo, to take the hair, and they would take the piss out of me, and I'd be like, "I can understand you. I know what you're saying. I've been here 6 months now. I know you're talking about me, you little bastards." And then they would switch to Catalan, and I'd be like, "You fuckers." Because I still can't speak any Catalan, really. I can say, like, please and thank you in Catalan, but that's about it. And have a good day. Yeah, because in Catalan, have a good day is que tinguis un bon dia. Yes.
That sounds hard to say.
Yes. Well, it's quite close to Spanish, but in Spanish it's a lot easier to say. In Spanish it's que tengas un buen día.
Que tengas un buen día.
Que tengas un buen día.
Un buen día.
Yeah, lovely. Very nice accent.
Thank you. Well, I grew up in California. Everyone's Mexican.
Yes. Well, that's the, but they speak Espanol, which is weird because that means Spanish. But here they speak Castellano.
They don't teach you that when you're learning Espanol.
No, because they probably don't think you're ever going to go to Spain and actually speak Spanish. They probably just think you're going to go travelling through South America, which is where you would need Espanol.
I went to Tijuana. I didn't even speak a fucking lick of Spanish.
Yeah, that's Tijuana. I went to Tijuana and I hated it.
Oh, it was a shithole.
Yeah, like it smelt of piss. Like, no offense to people from Tijuana.
It smelled like animal pee.
Yeah, like everywhere though as well. And I was just really disappointed. I was on holiday with my parents and like we went for a day in Mexico because we were in and around Los Angeles, and we were like, oh, let's go and have a day in Mexico, and it was just horrible. And then I'd been begging my dad to take me to a Hard Rock Cafe, and he was always like, it's too expensive to go to the Hard Rock Cafe. And then there was one in Mexico, and I was like, Dad, please can we go? And he went, as a treat for you today, we can go to the Hard Rock Cafe. So we went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Tijuana. However, and this is a long, long time ago, we walked in, and all that was open was the gift shop. They hadn't finished building the fucking restaurant. And I was like... And my dad felt really bad, because he's a lovely guy, my dad. He's very quiet and kind of old-fashioned, but he's also very caring and kind. And he went, well, do you want me to buy you a T-shirt? And me being like a facetious child, I was like, no, if we're not eating here, why would I want the T-shirt? And it was like, let's go. Don't want to be here anymore, Dad. It stinks of piss and the Hard Rock Cafe isn't even open yet. And, yeah, so that was my experience of Tijuana. Yeah, fuck Mexico.
Unfortunately, I don't really remember my experience. I was young and drunk for about 2 days straight.
Oh, take care, Miss Rebel Jewel. You must be in the UK, I would assume, with that time difference. But yes, lovely having you here. I haven't seen you around on this channel.
I did ask my Spanish teacher once if when he was thinking to himself, was it in Spanish or in English?
Do you know what's weird, right? Before I came out here, I had a Paraguayan girlfriend, and I used to spend a lot of time, and I was obsessed with learning the language as quickly as possible. And even when I was back in the UK, I started to dream occasionally in Spanish. I remember waking up and going, wow, that was my first dream in Spanish. Since I've been out here, since I've been living in Spain, I never ever dream in Spanish. And to be honest, I try and avoid speaking in it as much as possible, which is probably no good for... It's why I still struggle with, like, están, estaba, era, fue, like when to use those words when talking in the past tense. I've got a great, I might be blowing my own trumpet a little bit. I've got a great vocabulary. I think you could give me almost any word and I could translate it into Spanish within reason. Like, don't give me like Glockenspiel or something like that, even though that's a German word anyway. But
Kugelschreiber.
Well, that's a German word. I can't translate German words into...
Translate... So you can translate any English word into Spanish?
Yeah, just about.
What about tungsten?
What, as in tungsten-tipped screws?
As in tungsten steel. Yeah.
Well, that's a brand. That's going to be tungsten in all languages. In Spanish, it's tungsten.
Right, that's what the Spanish commercials are like. Blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Anna, what took the most getting used to about Spain? It's probably something I still miss now, and as horrible as it sounds to say, for me dissing America and everything, I miss the lack of convenience as a single man living... Well, I have a housemate, but we don't really make dinner for each other or anything, and even in the UK, and I know to a much greater extent in the US, you could go to the supermarket and you can just pick up a microwavable TV dinner or whatever, and you can take it home. In the UK, we've got some great ones, some really nice ones, like well made as well, like something you take home and just whack in the pan. Here, they don't have that stuff. Like you cannot, with the exception of pizzas, you can't just go to the supermarket and buy something you can take home and cook in 10-15 minutes. You have to make everything from scratch here, and it's quite frustrating because living alone, I don't really want to have to cook a whole meal every bloody night, which is probably why I eat far too much pizza these days. Bilingual people do think in both languages. I'm probably not fully bilingual in that case, because in my mind, like someone says something to me in Spanish, I have to take the words, translate it. I can do it quite quickly. Right, hang on one sec, because my friend Steph is calling me, but he might want to join us. I'll just click that, and then I will call him. Then I will message him. But yeah, sorry. I'm just going to message him.
He always likes to take the piss out of me. You guys might actually enjoy this.
Yeah, sorry guys, do bear with me.
I'll say one thing though, hanging out with Adam, I say a lot of British shit at school. People don't understand what I'm saying.
Well, what was it I said to you earlier today? And you were like, what the fuck? Oh, pull your finger out. And you were like, what does that mean? Pull it out of your ass, haha. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it means, but we use it as like a euphemism for stop being so fucking lazy.
I genuinely was just fucking around when I said pull it out of your ass. I've never heard anybody say it like, pull your finger out. Like, of what? Exactly. Your ass.
No, it means your ass. It means stop fingering your ass and get on with your job.
Finger popping each other's assholes.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, it's nice to know I have this British influence on people. Good night in Spanish. Buenos noches. That's a very easy one, Kay.
One night, una noche.
Okay, they don't. No, they do have tomato sauce. Do you mean as in ketchup? Beautiful disaster. Yeah, we've got ketchup. Ketchup's easy to get a hold of. What you can't get a hold of here is HP sauce, which is my favourite in the UK. Brilliant for like bacon sandwiches and fry-ups in the morning.
I'm curious, beautiful disaster. Did you name yourself after the 311 song? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, do I... What? Do you finger donkeys? No, I don't.
Goats, it's goats.
No Dr. Pepper, yes, I do miss Dr. Pepper. Okay, James, two things I love about Barcelona and my favourite places. Okay, the people. I fucking love the people in Spain. I love the fact that a man can call another man handsome and it's not, like, gay or anything. It's just like, hola guapo. Like, people are just generally a bit nicer, but maybe... And they always say to me, like, I always try, because I think it shows a good effort, although, like, a lot of people I talk to speak English, but I'll always try and speak in Spanish to show, you know, I know your language, I'm trying to learn, I live here, it's the least I should be doing. And I'll say, lo siento, mi castellano es una mierda. Like, I'm sorry, my Spanish is shit. Yeah.
Shit.
And they'll always go, no, es muy bien, es perfecto. I know you're lying. I know you're lying. It's terrible, but thank you.
Almost say Spanish-lying bastard.
Yeah. My favourite place is in Barcelona, James Morris, and it's very close to where I live. So if any of you ever head up to Tibidabo, now it's kind of a little bit of a secret, Tibidabo, because it overlooks the whole of Barcelona, but I live actually the other side of Tibidabo, so I have to go past it every time I go into the city. But it's just a beautiful place to go and walk. There's like this big monastery up on the top of the hill. If you've ever seen this fucking awful movie, but if you've ever seen Vicky Cristina Barcelona, there is a scene in that where they go up to...
Jesus, yeah. I saw that a long time ago.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. I mean, that film gets so much wrong. Javier Bardem pretending to be a Catalan Catalans have a lot... They're very reserved, like British people are. And Javier Bardem plays this kind of over-the-top Spanish guy, and it's like Woody Allen literally did no research about that movie at all. It was just fucking lazy and shit script writing. And I know, like, I've never actually seen it. I know he made that film, was it Annie Hall, and that's like one of the seminal movies of all time. But Vicky Cristina Barcelona is an absolute just vanity, horrible project. He probably went, do you know what, I fancy a holiday in Barcelona, I'm going to write a terrible shite script. I know nothing, I'm from Barcelona. Well, Anna, there's a fact here. When they aired Fawlty Towers here, they changed Manuel to being from Mexico, I think it was, because obviously it was quite offensive to people from Barcelona having the stupid guy in it being from Barcelona. But yes, sorry, to go back to what I said, Tibidabo, because you've just got views of the whole city. You can see everything from up there. You can see the Sagrada Familia, you can see like the Barcelona Gherkin building, you can see the sea and the marina, and the monastery kind of bears over, and it's just really nice, you know. When everyone else in the height of summer is sat on the packed beaches, packing in like sardines, I'm up in the mountains looking over the top, having a smoke and a beer going, yeah, this is where I want to be. So yeah, Tibidabo, I would say, is my favourite place. It's the place I'm most affectionate towards. Also because it's just a place that not that many people know of. I've had friends that have lived in Barcelona for years and have still never taken the train up to Tibidabo. Little tip, if you do ever come to Barcelona though, don't get the fucking the monorail train from the city that costs like €15 return. That's ridiculous. It's a bit of a walk, but you can get the train out to Pale del Funicular, and then take the funicular railway, because that's included on the same ticket, and also you get to go on a funicular railway. Who doesn't want to go on a funicular railway? And then it brings you out like a town called Valvidrera, and then you can walk up to the mountain from there, or if you don't fancy it, you can use your ticket and you can get a bus up there, which takes like 10 minutes to get up to the top of Tibidabo. But I actually quite enjoy the walk up there, because you've got you walk kind of round the edge of the mountain, so you get like views of the valleys behind the mountain, and then you get views over the city as well. It's just fucking brilliant. JM, do I miss... It is really nice. Well, if you ever come and visit, Chris, I will definitely take you up there. Yeah. Well, do I miss a full English? Yes, I do. Although, to be fair, we have really good black pudding here. I can scrape together a full English. The only difference is, well, I'm of Irish descent, so I actually more miss a full Irish, but I make my own potato bread, so it's all good. Hey, Steph.
He's
got Dave with him. All right, so I'm Scottish, you wee fanny. You dafty bam. Where are you fair? I hope Dave liked that. Would you? Yeah, of course I would, James Morris, as long as you're not going to kill me and sell my organs. In fact, there was a dude, I haven't seen him for a while, but he works in one of the pubs in the city, and he said, oh, come to the pub and I'll get you a pint. And I've been meaning to go into the city to see him. Well, I have been into the city a couple of times, because I have to go to the, I guess in America you would call it the dispensary, but we call it the club.
No, they still got cannabis clubs.
Yeah. Full Irish isn't that whiskey and potatoes? I wish. That's literally that's my favourite two things in the world, to be honest. I could live off whiskey and potatoes.
I'm a meat and potatoes guy, for sure.
Yeah.
Corned beef.
Oh, no, not
like
spam. No, fuck that tinned meat. Fuck off.
No, that's your racism. That's your British imperialism coming out.
Oh no, we've got that all over the place. People love it here because of all the rationing from the war and stuff. Like people
love curry too. Isn't that the national dish?
What is?
Curry.
Curry is the most popular food in Britain. Yeah. Can't get a good curry in Spain. That's something else I miss though. Fucking proper good curry. Like, oh man, I miss a decent fucking
lamb curry.
Oh yeah, lamb madras. Oh, now you're talking.
What's that bread called? Naan bread or something like that?
Naan bread, yeah. Peshwari naan. Peshwari naan, onion bhaji, pilau rice, chicken madras, Bombay potatoes. Oh, oh my god, I miss that stuff.
Very good.
I don't know if I'm allowed to explain this story, Steph, because I kind of want to explain Chris's faux pas, but I have to go quite detailed into what's happened in your life.
What did Steph say? I don't understand that.
Chris said apparently Steph is with one of Steph's my real life friend, by the way, guys, so it might make some more sense, but he's with another one of my real life friends, Dave. And apparently, well, apparently he's introduced him to his other choice tonight, which is a reference to what you said to him the other day, and we were like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, you told Dave what I said? I didn't.
We were laughing about it earlier. No, I know.
No, honestly, though, be honest with you, that stuck with me when I was going to work.
Oh, don't dwell on it.
I really didn't insult him.
No, it wasn't about insulting. I knew it was coming from a place of care. It was just a bad choice of words.
Yeah, I just inserted my stupid American input.
Curry and chili, JM, we would get along very well. Curry and chili are two things that I absolutely love. At least here, I make a banging chili. I would never go out to buy chili because I make chili better than anyone. I'm sorry, now I really am blowing my own fucking trumpet, but I make the best chili you'll have ever tasted, or anyone will ever taste. Well, it depends, Karen. English curries require asbestos math. Not necessarily. You get yourself a korma, and it's nothing, isn't it? It's coconut milk. But pussies eat korma. You need to eat. For me, it's madras because it's just the right amount of heat. English chocolate cake. Can I be honest? I'm not a big chocolate man.
Man, I love chocolate.
If I have chocolate,
what were we doing? And I told you I had my candy bar melted in my pocket.
Yeah.
That.
I'm just not. I'll eat chocolate. Don't get me wrong, but if I do have chocolate, it's got to be. It's got to be like something with a savoury thing in it, like a Snickers bar. Snickers is my favourite chocolate bar, which are readily available in Spain.
You like the salty, savoury kind of.
Oh, no,
I like anything with nuts in it.
Yeah. Well, if you're talking about like salted caramel or something like that, I love that. More, I don't like dark chocolate at all. I can't. But however, it is the secret ingredient in my chili. So.
Did you know that chocolate is the symbol of love?
I didn't know that. Do you even know how life works? Do you? But no, I'm not a fan of dark chocolate, but I use dark chocolate for cooking chili.
That's not that big of a secret.
No, it's not. However, right, my chili...
Cincinnati-style chili, and they put that shit in it, and they put brown sugar in it.
Mm-hmm. I don't use brown sugar, but...
try it. It gives it a... I don't know, try it. Just put a spoonful in it when you put in your chocolate, just like a little... Not a huge spoonful, but try it next time.
Yeah, well, I
don't think it'll ruin the batch, but...
No. Well, for me, the most important thing in making a chili or a bolognese is sautéing the onions first of all. And I like my chili. I like it to have a little burn and a little spice. If I'm not sweating by the end of my third wrap, then it's not hot enough for me.
You're getting up there in age, buddy. Are you a little concerned about fucking your stomach up?
Oh, these days I am. To be honest. I don't make it as hot as I used to. I used to love eating as hot as I could, but these days, yeah, it's
kind of like torturing yourself while you're eating it.
No, the eating it's that's the best bit. I love eating hot food. It's without being too graphic, it's the following day that I have problems. I'm sure no one needed to know that. But no, the eating it, if it's really fucking hot, I absolutely love that. It's like being high. It's amazing. Because of all those endorphins that are let off in your brain from spicy food. But no, yes, what I do when I make my chili is I saute the onions and the peppers before adding the meat and the kidney beans.
You gotta let that kind of caramelize in there with some olive oil or other spices, and then you throw in your protein.
Yes, exactly. But if you add some chili powder and some like hot sauce to the onions before they cook, it means like the heat of it goes through all the meat when you add it. You then add more with the meat, but it means like you get the heat and the spiciness going through the whole thing. I also add a little bit of red wine to my chili. That and the dark chocolate just gives it a really rich flavour. And I like to put as many hot things in it as I can. So I'll have like chili powder, but also like cayenne pepper, hot paprika, and anything else I can find to make it more spicy. That's another problem I have with Spain, is you can't buy like fresh chilies, and you can't buy very many fresh vegetables, which is a bit annoying. JM, yes, I have tried vindaloo. I like vindaloo. It's just that in a traditional vindaloo they put potatoes in it, and it's a bit weird, but I do enjoy a vindaloo. These days it's probably a little bit too hot for me, the vindaloo, because it's like the third hottest curry, I think. I mean, I had fal once, which is like I think the hottest possible curry you can get. The problem I found with fal was the food itself was so overpowered by the heat that you just couldn't even taste it, so it was a bit pointless.
I've never had it.
It's F-A-A-L, and yeah, I was told to try it because it's the hottest curry on the menu. It just wasn't very flavoursome. I know Madras is fairly hot, but it's also very flavoursome. That's why I like it. Even jalfrezi, which is a bit more milder, but it's fucking beautiful. If I get a jalfrezi, I'll ask the guy that's making it to add a bit more spice to it. But anyway, we've kind of digressed into food talk. We've been going nearly 2 hours though, so we might need to wrap it up. I think it's been fun. We've had some deep conversation at the start and some interesting conversation. I'm going to go and call Steph and Dave if they're still listening. So hopefully I can hang out with some of. No offence to you, wonderful people, but some of my real life friends. The Reaper pepper, I've heard of that. I've heard of the Reaper. Oh, the pepper chip that was made from the California Reaper pepper. It's in crisps, you mean, Beautiful Disaster? Because that's what you guys call crisps, isn't it? Chips. Because to me, chips are fries.
Yes, it's crisps. Yeah.
I haven't tried those then, no. I've tried ghost peppers. I used to have a slow cooker, and I used to like putting some pork and some cider and a ghost pepper just to give it a bit of spice. And then I put habaneros. Yeah, habanero's nothing though these days. I could eat a habanero easy. Maybe.
She used to knock me on my ass though when I was a kid. I used to just coughing fits and just. I don't know why, but when you get hot stuff in your mouth, you get this urge to. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I got the urge to like run around. I don't know why.
Yes, the endorphins. It's basically, eating hot food sets off a much milder effect, but the same effect that taking ecstasy would give your brain, but on a much smaller scale. That's what ecstasy does on a larger scale. It releases endorphins in your brain. It makes you happy. It makes you excited. It makes you hyper. That's why when people take ecstasy, they want to dance. And that's why when you eat hot food, you can get a bit hyper, because it's releasing the exact same feelings in your brain that a synthesized drug would.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, personal experience, Anna. I don't mind. I had a dodgy youth. I tried quite a few things. Nothing. I was never a fucking crack or heroin addict or anything, but I dabbled in things when I was younger. I wouldn't do it these days. I don't know. If someone turned up at my door and said, "Do you want to take one of these?" I probably would, to be honest. But fuck it. That's a different thing. But I wouldn't go out looking for it, to be honest. Like the only.
If we're being honest, I have done the ecstasy before.
Yeah. I think, you know, I had some good experiences on it.
It was fun. It was really fun. I was in a good environment. I was in a good headspace. It was a good trip.
And while I'm not advocating it, I must say that it's one of the drugs that it makes you a lot more affectionate towards the people around you and the world around you. And I think it... you know, people on ecstasy, like, many people think that, oh God, it's a drug, it must be terrible, they're going to go out and do terrible things. But whenever I've seen people on ecstasy, they're always just hugging each other and gurning and looking like absolute idiots, but, you know, they're not harming anyone. It's when you start doing things like coke and crack and speed, the drugs that make you aggressive, that's when you might have to worry a bit. Well, thanks.
Very hyper, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, I accidentally took speed once. Well, not accidentally. I knew what it was, but I'd never had it before. And it was really strange. I was living in like this shared house. I was only like 21, 22. Not like a fun shared house. It was like the guy that rented the room out, he only ever stayed there at weekends. And he was a freelance cameraman, but mostly worked for the BBC. He was a really nice guy, Martin, actually. I don't know why I don't know why his name is relevant. But the other guy that lived there, he was a bit of a tosser. And I found out why, because like he used to get really annoyed because I would quite often come back from the pub because I was young. I'd go to the pub all the time. I'd come back drunk and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to watch TV or listen to music in the living room really loud. And then he'd come like storming down the stairs like, does that have to be so loud? One day I found out why he was so aggressive, because he came downstairs and like he saw me sat in the dining room table rolling a joint, and he was like, oh, you smoke weed, do you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, do you want some speed to put in that? And I'd never had it before, and I was like, yeah, why not? So I put some speed in it.
Oh, shit. Well, that took a lot. That wasn't very hard to get the drugs.
And I was like, why not? Never had it. So then I smoked this joint, and I was like, fuck, I've got to do something. And I went out on a 12-mile bike ride.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, there was an objective to my bike ride. I decided, while in my induced state, that I wanted to win my ex-girlfriend back, so I wrote her what I thought was a really lovely note. It was probably unintelligible, because I was like writing at 10 miles an hour, like, oh, Mrs. I'm gonna win you back, blah, blah, blah. And, and then I decided that note had to be delivered right now, and she lived like 6 miles away from, or maybe a bit further actually, than from where we were. So I took my landlord's bike out of the shed and was like, fuck it, I'm going to deliver this now. Ran up to her doorstep at 3 a.m, dropped this note there, and then cycled back. And I remember the next day I called into work sick because I didn't know what was happening. To me, I felt really down. I'm now fully aware that was what is referred to as a come down. The next day I just felt awful though, and really like emotional and needy. I was like, oh, I can't come to work today, sorry boss, I just feel awful. And
oh, man.
Yeah, well, anyway, so that was my experience with speed. I mean, I could divulge more. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say here. I guess no one can arrest me for things I've done now. I accidentally did a much worse drug than any of those. But again,
I accidentally smoked cocaine.
Well, that's all right.
Somebody put it in a joint just like you. And this thing was lighting up like a sparkler, right? It was like, shh. I wasn't paying attention because I was a little high, and I was like, ooh, man, I'm not getting it. I'm not paying for it. I'll smoke it. Shit. And my mouth turned numb, and I got all paranoid, and I didn't know until the morning that it was laced. They call it a primo.
I've heard that term, yeah. It's like in the film Friday when the guy laces the joint in angel dust.
Angel dust.
Yeah. Classic movie as well. Well, I'll save the story for another night of my other, much more reprobatable actions, although I was, coerced, or more than coerced. I was tricked into what I did, and I never did it again.
Story, it doesn't say it doesn't take much to coerce you.
True, and you'll probably see how weak-willed I am when I tell you guys the other story, but I'll save that for another night. If anyone's still listening now, then you can try and remind me the next time that I'm streaming and say, oh, do you remember you were going to just say, Adam, tell us the Glastonbury story. and then I will know what you're talking about. And if you're not aware, Glastonbury is a very famous music festival in the UK where basically everything goes. But yes, thank you, Anna. I know it's kind of story time, but I think we're going to wrap things up. Hopefully my mates haven't gone to sleep yet. So I'd like to go and chat to them a little bit. No offence to you guys, as much as I love all of you, do smash that like button if you've enjoyed it. Go and check out Chris's channel. Thank you. And thank you for joining me, Chris.
Oh, no problem. It's fun, man. Thanks for having me.
That's been fun. And thank you so much, guys, in the chat. I will hopefully see you all very soon. So do take care, everyone, and remember, be good to each other. Don't fucking shoot people and stuff. Just everyone's got feelings and everyone's got rights, and if people do something wrong to you, walk away from them. That's me dropping some wisdom for the evening. So
let your payback be a happy life.
Exactly. You will always be happier for it. As much as you think revenge might be the right course of action, you'll always be happier for taking the higher ground in the long term.
Unless you're playing on PSN.
Oh, well, yeah. That's a whole different world.
I'm just joking. But yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you, Chris. Bye, everyone.
See ya.